Does Matt get this before every Big Damn Cast as well, Chris?
No, because now we're back in person, so he shows up and goes, fucking press record, please. And I'm like, okay, let's go.
Not even any foreplay.
No foreplay. Straight to the resentment.
And you know how you fade out? You know you fade out at the end of every episode? That's actually because Matt is just already walking out of the building.
But what was funny is, by the time the feeling had returned to my anus, we'd already caught the pigeon.
Well, that's what you get for going in dry, really, isn't it?
That's very true. Very, very true.
Yeah.
No foreplay.
No foreplay, going dry.
Sweet baby Lord. Welcome, everybody, to a short, sweet, and concise Big Damn Cast.
Lies!
We're not getting as much Big Damn Cast as we pay for. You don't pay for anything, sweet cheeks.
Some people pay a little bit.
Patreon.com/BigDamnCast. But in the meantime, we've got 2 episodes to record in one block. What? Why? Because things are happening and we're busy. So we're going to keep it nice and simple. This week, I know, this week, we have got our thoughts on the Rusty D Doctor Who return, RTD2.
RTD2.
As it's been labelled in some cycles. As well as
RTD2 Vengeance.
What If, the Party Thor episode, and I think that's it for this week. Do you have any emails we need to cover?
We've got a couple of emails, actually, including one from long-time absentee, Tom Monty.
Now in colour. So we'll do those this week. And then next week will be some tat. So please enjoy.
Yes,
First,
love tat.
I am Chris. It rubs the lotion on its skin, Johnson.
And I am Matt getting the hose again. Watson.
We always record with the hose.
Always.
And the bitches.
Just to keep you in line.
Oh right. Oh no.
That kind of hose.
Oh, that kind of hose. Yeah, no worries.
And the bitches just don't laugh.
All right. Okay. I just thought we had a lot of greased naked humans gyrating in the corner of the room. No, Buffalo Bill is my kink.
Oh, okay.
Just the words
Ted
in that succession. Not Ted Levine, not the character, not the goodbye horses, none of that. Just the words Buffalo and Bill in quick succession.
No, Ted Levine is my kink.
Oh, well.
If you could get hold of a copy of The Mangler, you should get hold of a copy of The Mangler, because it's like his only lead role in this like terrible Tobe Hooper directed straight to DVD fucking Stephen King adaptation of a really obscure short story that's also got Robert Englund in it, hamming it fuck up. But he's really good in it, because of course he is, because he's fucking Ted Levine. But yeah, go watch The Mangler if you can.
But first, you saw a horror film.
I did see a horror film.
Nice, concise, spoiler-free thoughts on 2020/2021's Candyman, the Halloween 2018 style sequel kind of reboot to Candyman.
The long-awaited spiritual sequel to directed by Nia DaCosta, co-written by Nia DaCosta, Jordan Peele, and someone else whose name I've forgotten.
Some other person who wrote a thing.
But yes, long-awaited, long delayed. It's finally here. It's fucking great.
Hey.
It is. Well, it picks up with it's in Cabrini Green again, but in 2019, and Anthony McCoy is a young up-and-coming artist, and as inspiration, he gets interested in the local legends of the Candyman. And
Candyman Spieler.
Can
To say his name into the mirror 5 times, so he comes out and gives them treats. If you've never watched the Pete Holmes X-Men sketches, please watch them. They're very good.
It's
Ja, auch mit ausgeschlagen, you bin.
It's kind of difficult to talk about the plot more than that without getting into spoilers, and you don't want to go into this movie. Like, the trailers have enough stuff in them where you're like, yeah, I could have done without seeing that, but it is still really fucking good. It's like 90 minutes as well. It is
tight.
And a shit ton happens, and I came out of it being like, I could have had more of that. I honestly could have had some more of that. Like, another 15 minutes, half an hour. It's really, really good.
But Matt, the anti-SJW brigade on YouTube said that it was a terrible movie because it focused way too much on racial issues.
Well, yeah, because
they shouldn't ruin the legacy of what was just simply a really straightforward horror movie from 1992.
Win Rosenfeld was the other writer on that. Sorry.
Thanks, Win.
Who also...
That's a win-win.
Yeah, worked on... He's done a producing partner and writing partner of Jordan Peele, long time.
That is the most bizarre statement I've seen about it. I mean, I've not seen this.
It is a very bizarre statement.
This reboot, but like for people to be like, it's just a simple slasher movie. Why are you having to make it political?
It's really not.
Did any of them watch Candyman?
No. Have you watched Candyman?
I've watched it.
Fucking hell.
We borrowed it last year.
Watch Candyman
pre-lockdown because we were going to watch it and then go and see the reboot straight after.
Watch it, bro.
So yeah, we're gonna have to.
It's fucking great.
We're gonna have to do a proper loop back on that one. I think.
I will tell you that it does have a great cast.
Mm-hmm.
Yahya Abdul-Mateen II leading it up as Anthony and just being fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
Just like gets a lot to do and like gets to show off a lot of range and also just look stunning. Like, that man is a living statue, which you'll know if you've seen him in anything else. Because
you spent more than 2 seconds looking at him, you'll be like, "Oh my god!"
Especially if you watched Watchmen. The Watchmen series. You know what I mean. Tiana Paris.
Oh, yeah.
The once and future Monica Rambeau.
Yeah.
Here with her future The Marvels director, Nia DaCosta, because that's
what
she's doing next.
Yeah.
She's fucking great. She's fabulous in this. Nathan Stewart Jarrett has a great sort of like, not like plucky comic relief, but like nicer role. Like it threatens to veer into like camp gay comic relief territory.
Yeah.
But the sort of honesty of his performance kind of stops it from going there.
Good.
Coleman Domingo
Mm-hmm.
is amazing. Vanessa Williams returning from her role in the original, and that's all I'll say about that. And just it's really good.
Now, again, no spoilers whatsoever.
Yeah.
Tony Todd is in this, isn't he?
Is it?
I mean, yeah.
He's
credited as being in it.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't think he is.
What?
I don't think he's credited as being in it.
Oh, they've done a Woman in Black kind of thing.
I don't think he's credited as
Or
being
he's not credited, but he's clearly in it somewhere.
I will also say that it's a stunning looking movie. Nia DaCosta's got a real eye.
Establishing shots are just like the high rises and that in the trailers alone. I was like, that looks gorgeous.
Lots of like wide cityscapes and slow zooms in and out on details, stuff happening in the back in like the corner of frame, and playing with mirrors and reflections or lack thereof, and such, and the shadow puppetry stuff that you've seen in the trailer. There's a lot of that in the film. And it's all practical and it's all gorgeous.
Okay.
It's a wonderful movie.
Good way to kickstart the month of October for anyone looking for Halloween movies to watch.
Yeah. I hope Halloween Kills is half as good as this is.
Damn.
If it is, you'll be in for a good time. Because this is great.
Do you know what you just did?
What?
Delivered a really concise review of Candyman. We did it!
Put me on Radio 5.
Don't work for 5 Live. They make you go in at stupid o'clock in the morning and they don't pay very well. Who said that? The BBC must pay well in some other departments because Rusty.
Actual shocking news. Like entertainment news that has actually shocked me. Because nothing shocks me anymore. I'm jaded and cynical and in my 30s. But this was a fucking surprise, son.
Not 2 weeks after we'd begun to heard stories of BBC, possibly after the centenary in 2022, wind up on Doctor Who a little bit, maybe head toward a rest period, because the centenary BBC special of Doctor Who to celebrate the BBC centenary doesn't necessarily suggest they're going to do a 60th anniversary in 2023, and that this might be the jumping off point for now, and that's why it's being kept extra under wraps. We know it's nearly finished. As of this recording, it is in its final days of shooting on location.
Yeah.
And we know that John Bishop has wrapped. He is done. He's not recording anything else.
What is he wrapped in?
Secret NDAs, apparently.
He's dead, wrapped in plastic.
But
Bishop
out
Peaks.
of the blue, yeah, because in Chibnall and Jodie's statements from about a month back that they would be leaving after the centenary special, so we're getting a 6-episode series down from the 8 we were told at the end of this year. Some calculating that it's going to land around Halloween weekend and run till Christmas, because there's not much room left in the year to fit it now.
No,
So
there really isn't.
there is that, but then next year 2 specials and a final feature-length special toward the end of the year, which would be Jodie's last and Chris Chibnall's last as showrunner. There was no sign in the statements about Chibnall of a new showrunner having been selected or even being in talks. So either those talks were super secret or happened real quickly, because this week the news broke that Russell T Davies, former Doctor Who showrunner 2005 to 2009, is returning to showrun Doctor Who for the 60th anniversary special and, quote, series beyond, unquote.
Interesting.
So that suggests that he's back for that, and then at least 1 season?
Yeah.
But considering his statements earlier this year, and a few that we had a chat about before our Broom Cupboard episode recorded, when I was interviewing him out the Broom Cupboard, go give it a look-see, I interviewed Russell about Kids TV, it's not a Doctor Who podcast, sorry everybody. But
Sorry.
we do bring up Doctor Who because we talk about Sarah Jane Adventures and working Kids TV and stuff. But we chatted off stream, but we were talking off recording a little bit about, you know, I think what happened that day is some news had come out about Doctor Who, and we were having a little chinwag about it before we started. Because he went, "Oh, have you seen this?" And I was like, "Oh yeah," and we're sharing thoughts. But he talked about how, you know, like Doctor Who kind of is in a world now where there is a lot of franchise stuff that expands and crosses over and tells different stories. You've got the Marvel Cinematic Universe obviously being the most successful version of that going on at the moment.
Yeah.
And I said, like, well, you know, you and the team at BBC Wales were doing that with Doctor Who for a time. And he was like, yeah, that's true. And we touched on that briefly in the podcast. Then earlier this year, he made a point in an interview of saying that, like, Doctor Who could be in a Marvel Cinematic Universe kind of deal.
Yes.
And the journalist sort of jokingly said, like, so things like the Nissa Adventures, and he said, like, well, you joke, but, like, there is potential to do things like that. Why not?
Yeah.
Like, this character has met hundreds of different people.
As much as we mock them for it, Big Finish have been doing it for years.
Yeah, it's like there is untapped potential, and he proved it with Torchwood and Sarah Jane Adventures during his time. So
I would argue some of that potential, particularly in Torchwood, still remains untapped, for better or worse.
But that's what's interesting about this, because 60th anniversary of Doctor Who and series beyond suggests that it may not necessarily be like running Doctor Who, it may be setting up what Doctor Who does next and putting the building blocks in place for the franchise. And
is Rusty going to be the Kevin Feige of Doctor Who?
I wouldn't hate that, because here's the other thing: he doesn't need to do this.
No.
He doesn't need to come back to do Doctor Who. The Russell that did Doctor Who then went away, shepherded an American co-production of Torchwood for a season.
For better or worse.
Show ran Sarah Jane Adventures, co-created and dipped a pen into Wizards vs. Aliens for 3 seasons for Kids TV, Worked on a CBeebies show called Old Jack's Boat, which he wrote stuff for, which starring...
it's just a funny title.
But starring Bernard Cribbins, and Freema Rajaman played a role in several episodes as well. And it was like, so there's clearly that kind of... All of the people who worked on Who in that period were like, let's make a kids thing, why not? And
a bit like Sylvan Soph going on to do Melvin and Maureen's musicograms.
Exactly. Yes.
Which I have fond memories of.
Although we didn't get to see any random post their era spitting image puppets of Bernard Cribbins and Russell T Davies showed up on any magazine covers. Give it time. I love that I got brought recently online. Sophie Aldred, someone was asking her about, like, did you ever see these spitting image puppets? And you find it a little bit insulting. She went, are you kidding me? If you're going to be turned into a spitting image puppet, you want it to look weird.
Yeah.
You want it to look
That's
like
kind of the point.
fucked up version of you. Like, why not?
That's kind of why the new one's not, like, it's not cutting enough. And also,
why is there a new one?
Yeah.
Politics is ridiculous enough. But yeah, so... And then, obviously... The dramas. He's gone on to work on a bunch of stuff, but most notably over the last 11 years, A Very English Scandal with Hugh Grant, Years and Years, which is, to my money, still the best piece of TV from the last 10 years.
Sure, I still haven't bloody watched.
It's... If you're having a really great day, and you're like, I need to stop having a great day, binge it. Like, it's
Cool.
phenomenal acting, brilliant writing, and scary foresight. Some of the things that he talked about in this 2018 drama have now kind of started to show up in terms of technological and social developments.
Yep.
It's scary.
It's kind of why I've not finished Black Mirror, for the same reasons.
Cucumber and showrunning its spin-off Banana, which is a brilliant Channel 4 event series. And then most recently, It's a Sin, which has been storming the awards ceremonies and categories recently, nominations and wins for performers and for writing and everything. Dealing with a very scary and still very familiar topic to a lot of people, especially people who grew up in the 80s as part, around the AIDS epidemic and everything. Like, powerful stuff. So he is still at that point now where he could go to a channel commissioner and say, I'd like to do a drama about this. They would go, yes, we're doing it. We'll give you the money. Let's get filming it next year. And we'll do. And he doesn't need to do this, which makes me think that either a gap in his schedule came up and he went, do you know what? Go on. Why not? Or he's got ideas. He's got ideas.
Well, it's Russell T Davies
to bring
He's
to it.
always got ideas.
But the Russell that's written It's a Sin and Years,
yeah,
who has probably had these ideas for Doctor Who stuff he never did in the back of his head for 10 years, who now writes like this with proper left-leaning, fiery, angry passion.
I love it. Because people are going, the Not My Doctor people are going, Rusty's coming back way! And like, oh, you gotta...
You guys are about to... He's gonna blow you a new arsehole. Oh my god.
Just watch Turn Left? Turn Left is very accurately titled. It's like, oh yeah, politics, turn left.
Just you fucking wait. But that's got me excited because he also brilliantly in his Doctor Who and his other work has skirted that line where when it comes to family entertainment, he doesn't write assuming kids are stupid.
No.
He doesn't write family entertainment like Doctor Who assuming that it should just be for kids or should just be for adults.
Yeah.
He walks that line perfectly.
I think he's very good at pitching.
And that is something that has been missing, for my money, since mid-Smith era.
Well, I think also that's kind of what made him successful as a writer, is the fact that he started working doing kids' TV, but when he was writing kids' TV, he wasn't writing down to children.
He was writing for the audience who watched it. It just happened to be kids.
Which is what allowed him to then go on and do stuff like Queer as Folk, which is still very, very a very important piece of work, I think.
So now we've got the opportunity for him to make these important statements, tell these important stories in a flagship show, which he, brought back to television in the mid-2000s. But not only that, the two other people responsible for bringing it back at the time, Julie Gardner, his co-producer on the show, and Jane Tranter, who commissioned it.
Excellent.
Who run now Bad Wolf TV. Oh, isn't this wonderfully cyclical? They are now the new production company who will be making Doctor Who.
Yes,
with the beginning of
Bad Wolf
2023. BBC Bad Wolf, BBC Studios, and BBC Wales will no longer be the sole companies behind Doctor Who. It's not unlikely they won't collaborate with BBC Wales I can't imagine they will pull everything away from Cardiff and that BBC Wales work with, especially when you have crews and teams who can work on that show to a great level, who are right now like making a brilliant looking show efficiently and as best they can. Like, you can't deny that they would be a great asset. But Bad Wolf does film abroad a lot. They film in Manchester a lot.
Yeah.
Like, they move around. So it's going to feel different visually on screen.
Which is fine, because like it should. It needs to, like, it does change over time. Like, I'm even going back to the classic series. I'm working my way through the classic series. I've just started Pat's last season.
Hey,
and the difference in those 6 years from the start of the show to Pat's last season is in the way the show's produced, in the locations and kind of sets it uses, is really, really incredible.
I mean, just down to things like exterior filming, external shooting is like, it's very sparse in the Hartnell era. When it is, it's usually London streets.
But even then, like, look at the way that they shoot London in the War Machines, and look at the way they shoot London in the Invasion.
Oh yeah,
it's night and day.
It's sexed up.
Yeah,
they've sexed it right up. And they're clearly not just filming it in an alleyway behind the studio block as well.
Like, change is a fundamental part of the show in many, many ways. So of course, it should look different. And it'll be, because I think it's kind of unprecedented, isn't it? The way that in TV generally, like, a showrunner coming back to a show after such a long gap.
Yeah, like maybe to guest write a script or something like that. But to be like, I'm going to assume that mantle one more time.
Certainly not for a series that's like, you've had it where like David Lynch revives Twin Peaks for a third season after not really being involved for a lot of season 2. What other things can I?
But again, with that, it was the whole show came back, so it's not. It doesn't feel like it's not an ongoing machine where suddenly someone's just come back into it to. Oh, I'd like to do this with it. Now,
I can't think of anything similar really. Chris Carter, no, because he was always involved with it. He brought back the X-Files, but he hadn't left it when it first finished. So no, I can't think of anything like this.
First thing that came to me, and it is not even the same scale, is just writers like Robert Holmes, like dipping in and out of different eras of Who. But even then, that's just stories. And if you like that guy's script, you're like, oh, he's written this upcoming one. Oh, that'll be cool.
But they are, of course, flavoured by the showrunner at the time, be it Hinchcliffe, be it JNT. Like, you could put a Robert Holmes Pertwee story and a Robert Holmes Baker story next to each other, and while they're still undeniably Robert Holmes scripts, the rest of the show is so inherently flavoured by the production team that it doesn't.
You can give two chefs the exact same cookbook, your meals won't taste the same.
Yeah, and if you give Pippin J. Baker a cookbook, you might not even get something edible.
Jesus Christ.
But they kept doing it!
This is true. It's very true. Now, we
Guess he just came in under budget and ahead of schedule. Hey, that's all you need.
We can only speculate what he would do with it. And if you want to hear if you want to hear a bunch of idiots who spend way too much time talking about it, Five Who fans put out a new podcast this week. Go listen to it. It's got all 11. And it's worth a listen. When we speculate a lot about X, Y, and Z. But what I really wanted to highlight here, and I wonder if you spotted this, Russell's statement in the article, the accompanying BBC TV's Doctor Who article, was along the lines of, I really can't wait to return, it's going to be a lot of fun. But for now, we're too far in the future. For now, I'm still a fan.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see what's going to happen in Jodie's upcoming series and specials, and I can't wait to see what my hero Chris Chibnall is going to do with the show. Let's we've got so much cool stuff to see.
Yeah, it's a very positive statement.
He spends so much of his column inches saying it's cool, innit? But guys, you've got 9 whole episodes still to come of this series. Let's enjoy it. It's going to be amazing. And Chris Chibnall releases a statement that's basically just like, this is really cool. I can't think of a more exciting person to helmet next than the guy who brought it back. Like, this is really cool.
It's very exciting.
And it's a very lovely statement. And but I love the fact that he gave his time, like, his entire statement is 90%. Watch Chibnall and Jodie's final stretch, guys. It's going to be amazing. Aren't we all excited?
Yep.
Which is also him doing what he does best as a showrunner. Promoting the show.
He's very good at that.
So well. Like, it's not only polite and a gracious way to go, this is cool, but it's not important right now, everyone. I'll see you in 2023. Yeah. But also, he's making us go like, oh yeah, oh god, yeah, we've got a series coming up. All right, let's give it a go. What's the thing you are most excited about for him taking on the role again?
I think it's kind of like going back to what you said about him being a good promoter for the show, is that with Moffat and Chibnall, while Chibnall particularly, they're not as enthusiastically or vocally enthusiastic about the show. Whereas Russell T Davies is
he's a showman.
He's a man with a ton of charisma,
yeah,
and enthusiasm and force of personality. Not that particularly Stephen Moffat doesn't have a strong personality, for better or worse. But and
I can say firsthand, Chibnall's a really lovely, amicable, very friendly guy to have a chat with.
Absolutely believe you. But there is something about the way that Rusty talked about Doctor Who when he was running it, and talks about Doctor Who when it comes up.
I mean, confidential.
Yeah.
During that entire stretch, you finished an episode, you could flick over to another channel and watch a, admittedly kind of by the numbers, sort of cutesy, here's a behind the scenes look at it, but with loads of talking head stuff from people, including Russell, clearly loving the job they're doing.
Yeah,
which just makes you more enthusiastic for the programme.
Well, it seems like as he's become more successful, he's become a writer who doesn't, and producer, who doesn't have to do things he's not enthusiastic about. Which means that everything he does, he is enthusiastic about, and it shows not only in the end product, but in the way that he promotes it. And I think that is kind of what the show's been missing a cheerleader like Russell T Davies.
Rusty D.
For good old Rusty.
Give me an R!
Since he left.
Give me a T.
And it's just been, like Stephen Moffat kind of started out as being that.
And a lot of it may have been felt across the pond, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Pun intended, because they went to the States a lot to promote it during that era, but it was very much kind of like press tour kind of vibes. Whereas Russell would be on, every possible show going, banging the drum for it, and things like Doctor Who Confidential, like teeing it right up, and he'd show up on kids TV and do interviews and really psych everyone up for it.
I think Stephen Moffat was a bit more detached from it, and again, whether this is reflects him or not, just came across as a bit more arrogant and sort of.
And again, a lot of that is us projecting what we think the showrunner should be like because of how Russell did it.
Yeah,
it's not Moffat and Chibnall's job necessarily to be Russell publicly,
but it does give.
But there was a sense of vavavoom to everything when he was doing it that was sort of missed. Some of that could be done a different way in their eras. Maybe get the doctors out there a bit more, doing some more publicity and press. And it's not like they haven't. It just hasn't had that punch. It hasn't had that regularity.
But I think there was such a noticeable loss of momentum through Moffat's first couple of years, where it's like it just feels like the whole thing slows down as Matt Smith leaves, and then you go into the 50th, and for the 50th and the 50th kind of feels like where its momentum started to give out. And it's slowly
that year
sort
was
of,
like a big explosion, and then it just kind of went,
and it's just sort of been. And I honestly think Chibnall did give it a kick, but there's been so much pushback to the way he's approached it,
and sort of the ongoing secrecy and tight liquidness between releases is just
the lack of regularity. Like there's been no good schedule for so long that
even cool marketing stuff just doesn't quite. Have you heard about the resolution to the find the Doctor mystery that was going on?
No, well, I didn't know about the Find the Doctor mystery until you told me about it last week.
Yeah, but even then, that's the way that was done was sort of meant to be something you sort of stumbled into and was like, what is this? And you kind of start to investigate. So that was kind of, it was sort of like a fun activity for people to follow. But now that it's finished, it's sort of a voice message from Dan, Yaz, and the Doctor that essentially is like super vague, kind of see you soon.
Cool.
Like a little statement each. It was something like follow the clues, we'll see you soon. And to be fair, it was backwards in an audio file that you got at the end of it, so people had to find that secret message by messing around with the audio file. But also it came with a publicity shot of the Doctor from a photo shoot that hadn't been seen before. Cool shot, but just we get those when the series comes out. And a super close-up of an eye and mouth of an upcoming monster that looks like it could possibly be the Sontaran redesign, maybe, because it's a bit of a sunken socket with darker skin around the eye and little shriveled mouth, but with razor-sharp teeth. And it's like, All right. Okay. Is that it? Was that all it turned out to be? You've got these really cool things, like a gallery in Sheffield's got the Sonic on display as a piece of steelwork, as though it's a found item. And there's a gallery in Liverpool with this painting that had been recently acquired, and it's played completely straight. And in it, there is clearly the TARDIS along the river and something else anachronistic in there. And it's like, that's cool. So people around the country going, have you seen this? And then everyone's examining it and going, oh my god, look at that picture. That has a capital letter in that caption that shouldn't be there. That's got to be one of the letters for the puzzle. And, it's like, that stuff's cool, but then it just ended up being some publicity photos. And you're like, all right, okay. That's...
Look, Susan, the TARDIS.
Me.
It's just like too obscure for too little reward, you know what I mean? Like, if it had been a full trailer or something.
Yeah.
But...
Speaking of full trailer... The segue doesn't work. This is the last we're going to chat about Marvel's What If for a few weeks. Partially because we're pre-recording, and partially because I think now it's entering, as of this recording, the last 2 episodes. I'd rather us discuss it after the fact.
We'll finish it and then discuss it, definitely.
So, so basically watch it before next Friday night.
Yeah, alright.
But we'll talk about this one. If you're a regular... Yeah, because one comes out... As of this recording, one comes out tomorrow, and one comes out next Wednesday. So we'll talk about the 2 in one block. But that'll be in the episode that goes out 2 after this one.
Yeah.
So patience, Iago. If you wanna get involved in that discussion, send emails in bigdamcontact@gmail.com about what you thought of the finale of What If, which looks like it's going to be kind of a 2-parter from where we're standing here on Tuesday, the 28th of September, before the 8th and 9th have gone out. But we haven't been shy about the fact we've not really enjoyed the last couple of episodes very much, because we feel like it's just a bit shit, really, in places.
That being said, I think this was one of the better ones.
I freaking loved this one. So this is What If Thor had been an only child.
Yeah.
Which makes you think, and? What's that gotta... Yeah, it turns out it basically meant what if Thor was a bit more of a spoiled brat?
Yeah.
Because he didn't have this sort of... Because we know Odin's not a great dad. Odin, just leaves him to do his thing. And
then doesn't go in for it.
Yeah. So, him being with Loki and having that kind of counterbalance and them sort of one-upmanshipping each other and monitoring it as they go, led to him sort of becoming, brash and arrogant when we first meet him in Thor 2011, but a little bit more of a moral compass, a little bit of nobility built in. It needed that push, which was the events of Thor 2011, to sort of make him go, yeah, I've got to step up.
But he'd been tempered.
Yeah. And
up to that.
The notion here is, the deviation of What If, spoiler alert for What If Episode 7, is that Odin found the child during the war with the frost giants of Jotunheim.
Yes.
And instead of taking the child, rescuing / keeping it as a mark of victory,
hostage,
he took the child back to Laufey, and a truce was born out of that act of basically kindness. The frost giants went do you know what? Okay, we need to talk this through, because they saw that as Odin sort of being I'm a good dude, and not
honest.
Let's keep fighting. Yeah. And that led to a truce with the frost giants, which led to everything going that way, and Thor becoming a bit of a little egotistical, selfish, untempered brat.
Yeah.
Enter the events of the episode, where, like the beginning of Thor, Darcy and Jane are monitoring these weird patterns based off of this thing that happened out in space. The similar sort of patterns are showing up on the readings on Earth, in Utah, and it's that whole setting.
Yes.
It goes a bit further, goes to Nevada, you end up in Las Vegas, and Thor arrives. But it ain't Thor banished by Odin for it being an arrogant little prick.
Nope.
And kicking off a war with the Frost Giants again. It's Odin's sleep time, and Thor has brought a party to Midgard.
Yep. The biggest party.
Because his mum... Because it's Freya, isn't it? I keep saying Frigga, but I can't remember. It's Frigga, yeah.
But also Freya.
Yeah.
It depends.
Not Rene Russo, but a brilliant voice performance that made you go, yeah, sure, why not?
Gisette Eels.
Thanks, Gisette. Gisette Eels.
Gisette Eels.
Wonderful. So, yeah, why does that name ring a bell?
I'm trying to find other stuff that she's been in.
But yeah, she goes off on basically a girls' night out vacation that she only ever gets once every 1,000 years when Odin goes into the Odin sleep.
Yeah, the solstice.
The solstice. So
solstice.
And I love the fact that basically she goes away for like a couple hundred years or whatever and just dicks about like with the girls catching up. It's like, do you know what?
Yeah.
Fair. Absolutely fair.
Dicks
Why not?
About, eh?
And Thor Goes to Earth, one of many successive parties he's apparently been having around the galaxy.
Yes.
One which resulted seemingly in the destruction of this planetoid, which Jane wants to basically ask him about. Once they get there, she's like, this might be first alien contact, and also, was that you? I've got to know if that was you. And as the story goes on, we find out that she's like, okay, moral implication, you had a party there. Did people die? So that was kind of neat.
Yeah.
Like, she's sort of like, she's taken him by this whole overwhelming experience. They still kind of fall in love.
Yeah.
But it's more out of the fact that it's like he's the dynamic this time is less, Tarzan Jane kind of thing of the movie, and more he's the hunky, like, college jock that everybody loves. She's the science nerd.
Catalog.
But he's looked at her and been like, oh my god, you're incredible. And it's like so really poetic. And you don't get the sense from the way he's flirting with her that he's just like, I'm gonna fuck an Earth girl. You get the sense that he's like, we might fuck, but she seems pretty nice.
Yeah.
Like, and it's never played on his part as being completely sort of like...
You don't really see him womanizing, like...
That's the thing,
like,
yeah. Flirting, charming, but he's never treating her like an object.
It doesn't feel like he's working his way through a score of women.
It's Danny and Grace. They're going to have a fling while he's here on Earth. They're going to have a fling. It's going to be sweet. They're both going to enjoy it, and then he's going to fuck off back to Asgard.
Yeah.
And she's going to be like, oh my god, one time I slept with a god, and he was lovely. We had a great time. And I think Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman, both reprising their roles, play it really well.
Yeah, I was surprised Natalie Portman came back for this, but I guess she's back in the Marvel fold
She's
now.
back, mother truckers. Because she's in, I think she's uncredited she's credited with all the ensemble people in the credits montage.
Yeah.
But I think she's uncredited in the credits of... Endgame, even though she did contribute like 2 voice lines.
Yeah.
So, but by that point, we know now the negotiation had begun for Love and Thunder. So I'm sure she was like, "Yeah, fuck it, why not? Like, I'll record a couple of voice lines in this cupboard. Yep, there it is. Good. I'm gonna go over here now and record some voice lines for an animated thing you want me to do.
Love and Thunder, Thunder, Thunder."
But they did a lovely job, and I love that she calls him out later and is like, "Hang on, did people die because of you?" And he's like, "Oh god, no, that planet was already going to thingy. That's why we went there. It's Rick and Morty."
Yeah.
It's like it's Rick and Summer. Like, they've gone down, they partied with everybody, they got everyone out of the way, and then they fucked off, and the destruction of the place happened.
Unlike what Rick and Summer did, where they just let everyone die. Yeah,
but yeah, so it's that was kind of fun, because when I heard the premise of this, like, we knew there was an episode about quote unquote party Thor.
It doesn't exactly leap off the fucking page, does it?
No.
An elevator pitch.
So when it started, I was like, is this just going to be really throwaway? And here's the thing.
It's the lightest on plot of any
It
of
was
them.
throwaway,
Yeah.
and it knew it was, so it had fun with it. Because for those who haven't watched it and are not fussed about spoilers, the basic plot is Thor arrives on Earth with a party with a lot of aliens. S.H.I.E.L.D. get a bit worried it might be a threat. Summon Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
And then Captain Marvel and Thor fight until eventually Captain Marvel tells on Thor... Jane Foster tells on Thor to his mum and crashes the party.
Basically.
That's the plot.
That's it. So it actually fits in the time that they've given it.
It's really fun. Like,
it is really fun.
It did the job. And
It's
it
got
did
lots
it well.
of neat little sight gags, lots of neat little cameos.
Yeah, like one-liners, like what's her name? Rachel Thingy, who plays oh my god, I'm sorry, I've forgotten her name and I feel really bad about it. She's Moana's grandma. She's fucking great.
Oh, yes. She's
He's pulling up the cast list with his dreams. She's because the Grandmaster's there. Topaz is the character.
Topaz.
Oh, he's looking at the thing.
I'm looking at the thing. I'm going to find
Topaz and the Grandmaster, played by Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
They show up basically for like one line each.
Rachel House.
Rachel House, that's it. Rachel House and Jeff Goldblum as Topaz and the Grandmaster. They show up for like one line each.
Yeah.
We get to sort of see what a Grandmaster fireworks party actually looks like without being sat on any seats that you should probably not touch. We
Scoot scoots.
We get Nebula,
Nebula,
who apparently, between conquests of species to find Infinity Stones for a terrifying father, goes and gambles and parties.
Oh, why wouldn't you?
Mama wants a new eye.
Yeah, she does. She does.
Which I thought was fun. I was like, I like the fact that she has vices and still gets to do some light-hearted stuff on her own time between having to be a missile sent to people by her dad to kill everybody.
Indeed.
Korg shows up briefly. Taika Waititi lends a line.
Yeah, there's a lot of like
Meek's in the crowd. You see him in his little mech suit. People
showing up for a line here and there with this stuff.
Because again, this is like in this timeline, none of that shit that we've seen later has happened. So Thor presumably has gone to that planet to Sakaar at some point and be like, "Hey, you guys want to party? Do you want to come to the next party? Great, I'll invite you over." You've got like the golden aliens from Guardians. Yondu's hanging out there.
Yep.
Saw Kraglin a few times. Drax was there. Rocket was in the crowd at one point, if I remember correctly.
I think the line where Thor talks about there being a rabbit in the sink. I think that's supposed to be Rocket.
Fandral gets one line. It wasn't Zachary Levi. Sounded like him.
No.
Pretty great. So we got Hogan, Fandral, Volstagg, Lady Sif's knocking around.
That was Jamie Alexander.
Nick Fury shows up to Bollicum and gets twatted by accident by an excited Korg. The sort of the antagonist of the episode, if there was one, was Kobe Smulders as Maria Hill.
Yeah.
Because we have Maria Hill on the helicarrier with Agent Coulson, Clark Gregg, and Brock Rumlow, Frank Grillo. Who clearly has fun, and they clearly like working with him because he keeps coming back to do little bits and pieces. Even after being blown up in a 2016 movie, they keep finding excuses to bring him back.
Yeah, why not?
Like, Endgame, quick, do the elevator thing, kind of. Like, come back in. So, you've got that, and essentially S.H.I.E.L.D. like, it's murder. Everyone's going to die. These aliens are putting us under threat, and blah, blah, blah. Fury always said to use this in case of intergalactic emergency. The page is brought in and shows up Captain Marvel, not voiced by Brie Larson, but whoever did it did a great job. Really good job.
I do have a name. It was
our old pal
Alexandra Daniels.
Alexandra Daniels did a fantastic job as Captain Marvel, and sort of her whole role in it was kind of a bit of a piss take of the internet's perception of Brie Larson as a bit of a like mood killer. Do you know what I mean? The whole thing was sort of a Brie Larson's she's just a bit awkward and a bit, oh god, she gets on everyone's so they made Captain Marvel in this the party pooper.
She is the party pooper.
Obviously she's not like coming up just to do that. She's like, someone told me there was a threat to Earth, I've been summoned, so I'm going to fight them off, and then realises she's basically dealing with a bunch of fucking children.
Yeah.
Like,
basically.
And she's the one police officer who's been sent to deal with a house party that's got
great.
too noisy. Which results in, I think, my favourite fight sequence in this series so far.
Oh yeah, that is great.
Like the loop around the world punch up between her and drunk Thor.
Well, it's something that we've kind of not seen in the films, but it's just them both cutting loose.
Yeah. Yes!
Like, we've seen them both cut loose, but not against someone who can stand up to it.
Yeah, like Jon Rog was not going to fight back after being blasted into that rock.
Fuck no.
And, Thor, we've only ever really seen him do that, I guess, to like Thanos or a rock monster at some point. And yeah, this was fun. I dug it. It was really, really dumb and really stupid, and it sort of rested on Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman to sell it, and they sold it.
Yeah, Hemsworth having a lot of fun here.
Just Thor, TRH. There's an O in there somewhere.
Not in that order.
Not in that order. Party pooper. It's like giving her a timeout, Captain Marvel, by just resting Mjolnir on her for a second. Such a great use of their power sets. Like really inventive, really fun. Oh god, what else? And so the two standout moments for me being Kat Dennings as Darcy is always really fun.
Fabulous.
This is Thor 1 Darcy, so she's like total just hyperactive little kid who's on a field trip essentially and is she's still intern Darcy, and she's like over the moon.
It's very good.
And getting married to Howard the Duck in the chaos of the night out in Vegas, getting Elvis married to Howard the Duck played by Seth Green.
I love that they keep bringing back Howard. Like
it's because they know in this context everyone's like, hey, it's Howard the Duck. It's like, yay,
let's get fucking weird.
Like that's really fun. Thor sliding down the Sydney Opera House, or about to. Watch me slide down that pointy thing. That was really fun. The proper sitcom ending of like everything's been tidied up and they're all sat in front of chalkboards while he's teaching them a lesson on cultural exchange with Midgard.
It's very good.
That's freaking hilarious.
It's very good.
But my favourite touch was in another life, Thor and Loki are super tight.
Super tight, bro.
Frost giant Loki, who has like grown up completely among the frost giants and hasn't started to sort of become Asgardian in his appearance and everything. 12-foot tall, ice crown Loki.
And super chill party dude.
It's super chill party dude. The frost giants are still Asgard's best mates. I'm so glad they didn't go that. I thought it was going to be like at the end the frost giants take offense or something. But no, not at all. He's just like, uncool, bro. We're gonna go. And it's
let's go.
And just like their relationship's really fun. It's like it makes you really appreciate the moments where they do read from the same page in the films because it's like they are great for each other. It's just they're always going to end up being mortal enemies in one context or another, and it sort of makes you feel like
great for each other. It's just that neither of them are that great.
It makes you feel sad for Infinity War being the end of their actual kind of reconciliation.
Yeah,
but that's them using what we already know from the films to make us feel extra amused by this situation.
Exactly.
And I was just having Tom Hiddleston in his like Queen's English RP voice say things like "not cool."
He's just really trying to be cool, dude. Isn't he? He's really trying to be cool.
No, but here it was funny.
Yeah, that's true.
And he wasn't trying to sell us like indigestion tablets.
No.
He just got in from work at 6 a.m. He's going back to work for 3 weeks. Sound chin. So. But the most notable thing about this, which I watched there's a couple of YouTube channels I watch where they do like a little roundup of it afterwards and they go like, oh, here's what I thought of it. Just because after you watch it, you sort of, I wonder what the opinions are, people are enjoying it. And a couple of them just didn't get the ending and seemed to interpret the very ending of it as, oh, there has to be a dark twist, so I guess this happens at the end.
No.
But the ending is clearly a setup.
And it's also a
for the last
surprise
two
to the
episodes.
watcher.
That's the signifier in the episode that this shouldn't happen. It's not every episode so far has ended with either a twist or but this is on the way, be it good or bad. This wasn't that. This is an episode that I honestly thought was going to end with all's well that ends well.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice. And it was. But something's obviously going on elsewhere that is beginning to encroach on other realities.
Yeah.
Because the Watcher's giving his wrap-up narration, even basically saying like, well...
Yeah. Isn't that lovely?
They're only 3 days away from retirement, and then a portal opens, a freaking sorcerer-style portal opens. The Watcher goes, wait, what? Like, even he's like, hang on, the fuck is this?
Jeffrey Wright taken by surprise.
An army of Ultron drones, and presumably an Ultron that won, because it's in the Vision body and an Ultron armor, and has the fucking Infinity Stones.
Having seen that design on a character poster for next week's episode, I'm not keen on it. But we'll see what they do with it.
It reminds me a bit of Marvel v Capcom Infinite's Ultron Sigma, because it was kind of a similar look.
I don't love it.
I don't love it, but I'm intrigued to see about it because, so this is what would have happened, or this is what could have happened. I'm assuming then, and again, we're recording this on Tuesday, the 28th of September. I'm assuming the finale is across the next two stories and is about...
I would have thought so.
...this reality, where... Because another character we've not seen yet, but we know exists because of Lego and posters and everything, is Gamora, daughter of Thanos.
Yeah.
Gamora in a Thanos-style armour with his big old blade. Are we to assume she's introduced in the episode where someone else has got hold of the Infinity Stones first?
It makes sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So I guess this is what we're looking forward to. This is where the crossover element of it all is going to happen. And I appreciate that even though they've done this, me personally as someone who enjoys the anthology aspect of the show and the fact that it doesn't go anywhere, and I like the fact they've gone, do you know what? In the last 2 weeks, it's going to go somewhere. It's going to pay off in a way that lets you have your anthology cake and eat it. And now for people who prefer, an anthology, I don't know, crepe. Here's the anthology crepe at the end instead. And it's like, all right, okay. I'm intrigued. What do you think of this one? Because you've been lukewarm overall on the series.
I actually quite enjoyed this. I think because it was so...
Simpsons Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah.
It was just completely separate.
It was quite a throwaway. It was quite... And it was entertaining in a way that some of these haven't been.
Yeah.
Like, some of them have been trying to be funny, like particularly like the comic relief stuff in the Zombies episode, and falling really flat, but this was actually quite cute.
And it was a comedy episode.
Yeah.
Like, it was unashamedly a comedy episode throughout. So I guess, have fun with it. And we still got some kick-ass action too.
Yes.
Which was really, really tight.
Toit. Toit.
Sorry, what was that? Didn't quite...
Toit.
Ah, lovely. Thank you very much.
Toit.
Filth. Do you know what else is filthy?
Emails.
Emails.
Yes.
Nothing but emails. Dirty old emails sent by a pleb.
Well, this first one comes in from Ian.
Oh, Ian's not a pleb. Okay,
And Ian says...
Go on.
The title being Quel dommage, Davros.
Quel dommage, Davros.
So I'm a little confused by the title of last week's episode. What if this show isn't actually that good? Is this about the podcast?
Oh, this show's never been good.
No, this show's never been... We've never claimed that.
There are 1,000 multiverses where the show's really good. This is not the
one of them. No. So I saw Free Guy on Friday, the same day as the RTD news. Free Guy was a film that I saw.
What a great review.
I don't want to spoil anything, but I felt what was going on outside of the game was much more interesting. Also, a massive lack of women and actual commentary on gaming. It's a film for the Fortnite generation, but too raunchy for a 12A. I can believe that just going off Ryan Reynolds' brand of humour.
Yeah.
Like, it does seem like he's too... Like, he makes too many fuck jokes for a 12A. Let's be honest about it. Like, so... And that's kind of what's putting me off it. But...
Yeah, because it's the way it's been marketed is very much sort of like a 12 certificate PG-13 kind of...
And I don't think it is
This is
that,
fun,
yeah.
but yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Well, there's our Free Guy review from
It's
Ian.
coming to Disney Plus relatively soon, so I'll probably check it out then.
I can't remember where I read it, but somewhere said you can tell the moment Disney acquired Fox during the production. Because in the third act there is a moment involving two pieces of pop culture iconography that both belong to Disney that they wouldn't have had in it unless Disney was behind like something at the company by that point in the production.
That's interesting.
My prediction is one of them is a lightsaber.
It would make sense, yeah.
Yeah. Don't know what the other one
that
is,
would
but
fit in
one
quite
would be a
nicely.
lightsaber. So
It'd be something Marvel-y, maybe.
which I mean, technically, Fox could have swindled at the time. They
Yeah.
could be like, well, we kind of got like sort of joint ownership over the original Star Wars movies. So come on, let us off with this one.
Right, here we go.
Who's this from?
The Prodigal Son returns.
Not a pleb.
Tom Monty cannot contain his excitement. Literally can't keep it in.
Oh.
No, that's just the title of the email.
Ah.
No, caps. Fucking hell.
Has Tom shut himself?
This is a great email, Tom. Thanks for this. Dear Chris and Matt.
Was it separated like that?
No.
Oh, thank God.
No, the emphasis is the readers. Please forgive me for yet another prolonged absence. This past year hasn't been the best for me mentally, and I've been finding it hard to find motivation to formulate these emails on a regular basis. No apologies necessary, Tom.
No obligations to formulate emails on a regular basis.
Don't worry about it.
You want to touch base every now and again, let us know you're doing, feel free to do that, but hey...
Take care of yourself first and foremost.
You're more important than talking to two random fucking weirdos in a podcast.
Yeah, these two fucking...
We're the plebs.
So much so...
You're the puppet.
Even the news that Chris Chibnall was leaving wasn't enough to get me to write in. But this stops now. Russell T Davies has returned and Tom Monty cannot contain his excitement. This is underlined. He has prepared some thoughts and questions on these pieces of news.
Is Tom writing this? Or is like his alien underling writing it for him?
You might guess that I was absolutely overjoyed at the news that Chris Chibnall will be leaving after Series 13. It was the most excited I've been about Doctor Who since Moffat's departure was announced. Until this week. I think it's a bit of a shame that Jodie is leaving now, since I had zero connection to her Doctor doing 2 series and would have liked to have seen her shine before she leaves. I'm doubtful as to whether this will happen in S13. But TBH, I'm glad she's leaving with Chibnall because the idea of a clean slate clean slate for the show will always be more exciting to me than anything else, especially with the recent news. And it also means that the 13th Doctor will depart in Series 13 and the 14th Doctor will debut in Series 14, which makes me extremely happy, but makes my tongue very, very tired. I listened to your reactions on the podcast, and you both seem pretty indifferent about it, but I hope you aren't indifferent about the more recent news!
What news is that?
Russell's return was revealed yesterday at time of writing, and it still hasn't sunk in. Following Chibnall's departure, I didn't think anything would be able to top that in terms of the news, but this is just wonderful. Seeing Russell's face in that picture in the press release just made me beam with delight, and I think this might be the happiest I've been in a very long time. It's absolutely fantastic, and do you know what? So was I!
If that picture of his face made you happy, you could be really happy with the podcast thumbnail this week.
He's got such a happy face, though, hasn't he, Rusty?
I spent 20 minutes before you arrived, cutting out him in that picture so we can layer it for the graphics.
It's a very
I love how they put him on a green screen, but then didn't put anything behind him.
No, they knew you were going to do it, that's why.
Yeah, but it was too dark, it didn't key easily in my software.
Well,
so I had to manually cut around it.
This is your fucking problem, isn't it? Chris!
Yes!
I know you know Russell personally.
Well, we've talked.
So I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on this. Not to suggest that I wouldn't like to hear Matt's thoughts on the matter as well. How dare you suggest such a thing?
I
guarantee Chris has got more thoughts about this than I had, though. Let's be honest.
I did send him a message pitching what I think should be the 60th anniversary special. Shall I read you? I won't read you his response because that's his business. I'm not kissing and telling.
That's
you know what I mean. But I will happily read you what I said to him, which was So I said, throwing this out there before I forget, has to be said. Feel free to ignore it, but here goes. The Doctor Who 60th special should just be an hour of Richard Hurndall eating a pineapple like a man possessed. I think that'd be neat. He quite liked it. So yeah, that's. What I'm saying is, if the 60th anniversary is just Richard Hurndall eating a pineapple like a man possessed, then you can thank me. You can thank me.
Question is, will we see the Mind Probe?
Not the Mind Probe.
Or the Raston Warrior Robot. That's why the Raston Warrior Robot's getting an action figure.
Allegedly. I have doubts. It's in a weird position on the packaging. I'm just saying.
Although
it'd be really easy to make.
Every position is a weird position for the Raston Warrior Robot. Look at that leotard.
What are you talking about? It's the ultimate killing machine.
So, alright, let's get...
It can move so quickly, Matthew, it's practically invisible. Watch it jump in the air and then be cut out the shot because they cut the footage.
It's so good.
I love the Raston.
Do you have any idea as to why RTD has decided to come back now? Didn't he say he'd never return to the show, and didn't he decline countless requests from Moffat to return for episodes during his tenure? Why now? Why not now? I think we covered this a bit earlier, didn't we? It's
been 10 years.
People change their minds.
He's probably had some really cool thoughts for it. Maybe he was approached. Maybe he threw his hat in the ring. Who knows? But this is the guy who wrote It's a Sin. I'm excited to see what he'll do with Doctor Who.
Yeah. Do you think the general reception of the Chibnall era has in any way influenced the decision to bring back Russell? Is this a reaction from the BBC?
I don't think it's a reaction from the BBC. I don't think the BBC are sad for it to go this way. I think they'll be quite bloody happy for this to be whatever it is, but I don't necessarily think it's them making that decision.
Yeah.
Maybe they did, pitch it to him. And I don't think... Because here's one other worrying thing. A lot of the naysayery, not my Doctor people and whatnot, are going to see this as damage control. Yeah. The only people who've been saying the current run, have been going on and on about the current run being shit, is you lot.
Yeah.
The general public either tunes in or doesn't. They're not looking at it as oh, Doctor Who's saved. They're looking at it as, oh, I used to watch this. That was cool. Yeah, I'll watch this. Yeah. Why not? That's as far as they're thinking. Doctor Who, this might come as a shock to a lot of our listeners, and it definitely will to the Not My Doctor kind of culture. Doctor Who's a fucking TV show, and there are other things on the world, on the earth, and in your life that are or could be going on. Go touch grass.
I love touching grass.
I love touching grass, especially
Your ass is grass and I'm going to mow it.
It wasn't the grass that tickled your ass. It was my finger.
I personally can't picture RTD without Murray Gold. Do you think there's any possibility he could return? I've had All the Strange Creatures playing on repeat since the announcement. The funny thing is I don't think anyone's actually ever seen Murray Gold and Russell T Davies in the same time at the same in the same place. So I think they might be the same person.
Russell T Gold. There it is. We found him. I hope Murray Gold doesn't return.
I hope not, because he did it as much as, the music that Murray Gold did for the show was good, was great.
He did it for like 10 years. Over 10 years, so that's a long time designing what the show sounds like. And we got to hear different eras and motifs and styles. Like, the 11th Doctor's era is distinctly different from the 9th and 10th Doctor's era. But I would rather hear Sega Nakanola's interpretation of a new era or a different composer's interpretation in general. I think the reason people speculate it is because Murray Gold has worked on quite a few of the productions Russell's done since.
I think, for me, I think that there is a degree of sort of leaning onto the nostalgia and going, oh, it's going to be good again. It's going to be exactly like it was in 2005. There's already been people going,
oh, will David Tennant come back? I said, why?
And it's like,
it's not how it works.
Well, you can't make the same show now that you did in 2005 to 2009 because it's 2022, 23 by the time they're doing this. So it just because it's got the people involved that made the show that you remember fondly doesn't mean it will be the same show, and they will make it the same way, and they shouldn't. And if they did, you'd probably find it disappointing because you kind of can't go home again in a lot of ways.
And also in the age of streaming and home media, like, why would you want it to be exactly the same when you can just watch that thing that you want it to be whenever? Yeah. It doesn't go away.
I'll just go back and watch those series. The press release is vague when it says returning for the 60th and series beyond. How long do you think the second RTD era will last? I've had some people saying it will only be last the series, but I'm really hoping it will be even longer than its original run. Nobody knows. Probably not even Rusty, so speculation is irrelevant.
I think, if I were to speculate based on previous history, I think a few years at least. I think it'll be shorter seasons.
Yeah.
Because that means a quicker turnaround in today's day and age, but they'd want to definitely try and put out a season a year.
I would like it to return to a more regular schedule, I think that's been the biggest problem with Chibnall's
Look at the work Bad Wolf has done with his Dark Materials, in particular. I think that's the biggest comparison to what
they've turned that around really fucking quickly.
Yeah, and there was like a gap, like a year gap between them, but that was because of the pandemic moving things around a little bit. But even then...
Yeah, they basically cut an episode from Series 2.
Yeah.
Because of the pandemic, they just couldn't make it work, but it was all stuff that...
And how good does that show look?
It's a gorgeous looking show.
It's incredible.
Absolutely gorgeous looking show.
Like, so that alone has me excited, but also, if you read The Writer's Tale, or any big interviews of Russell after his time on Doctor Who where he talks about being the showrunner, it nearly killed him multiple times in terms of the workload, but that was because he was also showrunning 3 shows and was across several other projects like Confidential, Totally Doctor Who, things like that, and it's a lot of stuff to be in charge of.
I would hope that he delegates a bit more this time round.
I mean, even if that means as showrunner he contributes a couple scripts and the overall arc to each project. So instead, it's spread out a little more. So it's more that his finger is in each of the pies rather than he's baking and eating, and in between that decorating all the pies. I think we're looking at a few years possibly. Just let him take a breather for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
And I think there is stuff that needs to be. Richard brought this up in the Five Who Fans podcast. There's stuff that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
From the original tenure yet, especially in light of information this year about a certain actor and another certain actor, and what that may mean for the departure of another certain actor who has been more open about his departure from the show, but still vague enough because it's not his place to talk about certain things. Like, I kind of hope that we hear a little more from Russell and Julie about those days.
Yeah, that will be interesting.
Even if it's just a clarifying statement of, we knew this, we didn't know that, or, you know, we let this happen not realising the severity, and for that, you know, we are sorry, or anything.
But I also think it's interesting that there is one producer from that original run who's not returning.
I mean, that may simply just be down to Phil Collinson being tied up way more in ITV and ITV drama.
Possibly.
But I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like maybe, you know, maybe Phil allowed other thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't.
Look,
And again, we don't know if they allowed. You know, allowed's the wrong word. We don't know if stuff went on under their nose that they just didn't really have the control to deal with at that point.
Yeah.
In a way that was down to either inexperience or access, or, you know, it's. I mean, look at the way Noel Clarke combated the accusations earlier this year. He came out swinging at first.
Yeah.
And his mate came out swinging on his behalf. And it's like, if the reaction is that big and harsh and brash to the accusations, what would it have been like just trying to find out what was going on back then? You never know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that may have been
And
why
the
Mickey was only around for a certain period of time.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, difficult to think, my Bob.
But I think at some point someone needs to just sort of go, right, so here's what we knew, and here's what, you know. But from a purely artistic standpoint, I'm very excited.
To what extent do you think / hope the second RTD era will feel like the original RTD era? I'm guessing we'll be seeing a return to the focus being on characters, maybe focus on the companions, like with Rose.
Yeah.
Has the focus ever really moved away from the characters in
a
big way?
Who's Clara's family?
You know, I think
how well do we know Amy's mum and dad after a
with,
series ended with them being resurrected?
I feel like
this is great.
I feel like they've rectified that with Chibnall, though.
Yeah, but everybody went on the journeys. Like, we don't really know much about Yaz's family beyond they argue a bit. And her sister argues with her a bit.
They've got some characterization, at least.
Yeah, but it's not been the focus. And that might also be due to it being 10 episodes.
Yeah, I definitely think that's
on the family a little bit each time.
But I do think that they have been correcting that with the last two series.
Yeah, Russell's era sort of... Not Russell's era, so Moffat's era started to dip a toe back into it with Bill before the ending. Yeah, I don't know. I do look forward to the domestic side of it returning, because I think he does that very, very well, as his series he's done since then continue to prove. But I'm not hoping that it's, like you said, just a retread of what's come before. Like, I want it to have an echo of that era. Yeah. But in the same way that any era has an echo of the original, like,
I don't think you can just do the same thing again. I think not this time. What do you think RTD will mean for the 60th? How many Doctors will we see? I think this all but confirms Tennant's return. No, it doesn't. But what would you say the odds are that Eccleston will come back now? Are he and RTD still on bad terms?
I know they admire each other professionally a lot, but there's obviously Chris Eccleston's made it quite clear that Julie, Phil, and Russell are why he left.
Yeah.
And again, the implications being from stuff that he was unhappy with that he feels they could have dealt with.
Yes.
Which, as more things are revealed, we all think we know what that is, but it might not be. It might be this. It might be that. I don't think you're looking at Chris coming back unless a strong enough... Because another reason why he won't come back is because he felt like the BBC treated him like shit.
Yeah. And the BBC...
the only reason he did the A word was because the script resonated with him a lot, and he was like, this is important, I want to be a part of this. But he's not done any other BBC stuff since, apart from the A word.
And I think the BBC as an institution at the moment is not exactly in a strong place with regards to integrity. Yeah. And, treating artists properly. I think the industry as a whole isn't. I mean, look at the way that Equity handled the whole Lawrence Fox thing.
Jesus Christ.
It's not necessarily the best place for...
I think, someone like Eccleston with his values as well to want to come back. Now, I think he would come back in some capacity if a statement, not necessarily like a written statement, but just like a statement was made by either the showrunning team or the BBC that would make him go,
it's
you've owned up to summer, I'll contribute.
It's going to come up eventually.
I don't think Tennant's a cert. I think he's the most likely
but
to pop up in something. I think Smith would revel the chance to give it a try, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Because he got to play the Doctor under Russell once in The Death of the Doctor, Sarah Jane Adventures. And Capaldi sort of made statements lately that suggest he's not in a rush to return to the role.
I'm not fucking surprised, mate. I can't imagine you had the best experience.
But that may be more to do with like the way it was for him at the time.
Yeah.
And the chance to come out and play for a special with a different team or whatever might make him go, yeah, do you know what, why not? And Jodie, if the 60th is immediately after her regeneration, I don't see Jodie doing it, or at least being a main character in it, because it would be a bit like, didn't you just leave? This is really confusing. Which is why I think the 60th may not be the first one to come out after the BBC Centenary special / Jodie's last story. I wouldn't be surprised if we're finding out about the production and the new team now in 2021, because sometime in 2022 they're going to be filming things for a 2023 release that wouldn't just be a feature-length special in November of 2023.
Yeah.
I have a suspicion, and this is completely suspicion, I don't know.
I mean, this is all fucking speculation.
I think we're going to get a series in 2023 to establish the new Doctor. So that if you wanted to go multi-Doctor route for the 60th...
Which they will. I mean, it's
not a written rule.
No, but
they always do it for some reason.
Why wouldn't you? If you're going to want to do a big shebang and it's an anniversary thing, you want to bring a lot of the history of the show into that.
Yeah,
like I think that's what I would do, but I'm not the showrunner.
You got Russell. You got Russell, who's excellent with the companions. Do a multi-companion story. Do a story about we now know from like established stuff in the recent publications and whatnot that Ace is running that organisation of Charitable Earth and is now based in London, and she's had non-canon, but it's BBC Books with a trailer for the season 26 collection that is using that book as a visual reference.
Yeah,
and that scene happens in the book apparently.
Yeah,
so we know that she's in London doing her own thing. We know because of the Sarah Jane Adventures, Death of the Doctor, like that the companions have had other lives doing X, Y, and Z. Joe Jones, now not Grant is out there with Cliff, like they're in the collection trailers doing mini adventures, which are all tongue in cheek, but they're in character, and it sticks with what we last found out about them in Sarah Jane Adventures.
Yeah,
like you have Martha, she is there. In this universe, Freema Agyeman has said, God, I love the show and I've got nothing but love for my time on it. And is happy to talk about it at conventions, and she's now dipped a toe into Big Finish, like with an upcoming Martha-themed box set during the year that never was.
Big Finish gets us all in the end.
You know what I mean? But that's what I'm saying, it's like you have this breadth of characters and actors.
Yeah, that's a nice idea, I think.
If you turned to them and said, hey, do you want to be in a heavily publicised 1-hour TV special written by Russell T Davies?
They're going to say yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, absolutely. And why not?
Why not?
That to me, that would be an exciting 60th. And especially if the 60th does come before a new full series for the new Doctor. You know what I mean? I would rather there be a special that's not about the Doctor, which maybe you reveal the 14th one at the end of.
Well, I'm going to skip ahead a question because one of the questions that Tom asked later is the way I understand it is we're getting the end of Chibnall at the end of next year, and then we'll have no Doctor Who content till the 60th. Do you think there'll be anything in between?
I think it'd be a series.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, the 60th doesn't necessarily have to go out in November either. It could just go out earlier in the year.
It does kind of need to because that's how anniversaries work, mate.
Well, yeah, it's the anniversary date, but it's the anniversary year, so you could just like. But
the date's important. Like, people don't celebrate the wedding anniversaries in March when they got married in fucking November.
No, that's absolutely true, but we're also not celebrating...
You know what I mean? You don't celebrate your birthday. If you were born in January, you don't celebrate your birthday in fucking March, do you? Come on!
I do.
Jesus Christ.
I want the party to last all year.
Fucking...
So what you're saying is we have to bump the JFK and assassination anniversary to a different part of the schedule?
Yes! Yes! and then rebroadcast it next week.
That's what they should do.
Yeah.
They should show the Doctor Who 60th anniversary a week later and go, we were going to put it on last week, but there was a fucking documentary about the Kennedy assassination.
Fucking hell. What does RTD mean for the casting of the 14th Doctor? How likely do you think it will be someone from either Years or It's a Sin? I've seen Ollie Alexander and Lydia West as hot contenders, but I can't really see them in the role, TBH, although I wouldn't rule them out for potential companions.
I still personally believe that no matter what, the next Doctor should be a female performer.
Yeah, because the one thing you don't want is then the Not My Doctor crowd going, oh, see, it was the WOMs that ruined it, and now it's not a WOM anymore, it'll be good again.
/ the casual audience referring to Jodie as the girl Doctor.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want that.
Despite the existence of Joe Martin, who is also a girl, but yeah.
Yeah, but again, general audiences don't necessarily know about Joe Martin's Doctor. Like, people who don't watch the series in its entirety every year won't know. So
she's cool as shit.
She's fucking great. but that's the thing. I made that point on Twitter the other day, and I got an awful lot of people going, well, if you want the casting to be so open, the fact you're limiting it to a woman is completely finger point. I'm like, hey, do you know how you balance scales? You don't gradually change things. You fucking change them in the opposite direction for a while, and then you level it out. It's one of the reasons why me, as a white performer in 2021, is going through my Spotlight emails and seeing a lot less castings for white roles or people who are white to play a role. The reason why it doesn't annoy me on a personal level, on a work level, I'm like, oh, that's a shame. That looks like a fun project. Anyway, moving on, and you carry on with your life. The reason why it doesn't bother me on a personal level is because there's been a lot of people who look like me in a lot of things for a long fucking time. Do you know how you balance that out? You don't do it gradually.
No.
You don't do it gradually. You do it in a big fucking wave. And to say, well, you have to go for the right person. Like, what's to say the right person will be there in that, say, casting for a black actor in that role? So you're saying that there isn't someone who could be perfect for this in a category where it's just black actors? That in itself is a bias. And, like, what do you... Shut up. Like, let the pendulum swing completely the other way for a while. And then let it come back to the centre.
I love a big swinging pendulum.
Jodie being one Doctor for 3 years, one female Doctor for 3 to 4 years, is not the pendulum taking a big swing for a while.
No.
It's the pendulum starting to swing in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So I think the next Doctor, it should be someone who's right for the role. Yes, and someone who's right for the role can be a woman.
Yeah,
so let's
cast the net as wide as possible.
Cast the net as wide as possible for that one category for a while. And then open it up to everyone else again in the future. Like, there is nothing wrong with that. It's, but I don't like it being a woman. Well, fuck off and come back in 3 more years when the casting is open again.
Fuck all the way off.
Yeah,
like, we're past the gender thing.
The fact anyone has a problem with that annoys me so much.
Past the gender thing.
Yeah.
Will they keep the same logo? I'm kind of hoping they make one that harkens back to the 2005-2009 logo, but with a fresh feel.
Keep the same logo.
Keep the same logo.
Keep the same logo we currently have. But if you want to harken back, put it in a frame.
Yeah, put it in an orange.
Put it in an orange frame.
Put it in an orange surfboard.
I mean, I'm sorry, they've committed to like the collection and things like that now.
Not
you keep this fucking logo for as long as it takes.
Keep this logo. Oh, fucking cut you, Russell. My sincerest apologies for the magnitude of questions. Tom Monty has never had this much on his mind. Love, Tom Monty. P.S. 5 Who Fans Podcast Return! That's 3 exclamation marks. Yeah. Anything to do with RTD's return by any chance? Will the Christopher Johnson be making an appearance? Well, that question's been answered by now.
Yeah, spoiler alert. If that teaser at the beginning of this podcast didn't indicate anything to you.
Yes.
No, it's out there. Go listen to it. All 11 show up in the podcast in one way or another. That being the 10-5 Who fans and most script writery of writers, Joel H. Jolson, a.k.a. Clara, Oswin, Osgood, Osband, Oswald.
Fucking hell.
Joel could read me the phone book and I would have a great time. And I've had a great time this week.
I've had a great time this week.
Oh, that was a segue.
Now we're going to have a go off a brew, and then we're going to have a great time next week.
Yeah, because we're going to record next week's. Yeah, so get your emails in about the What If final 2 episodes. BigDamnContact@gmail.com, so we'll talk about them 2 weeks from now. You can also catch the Mayhew doing things with his thumbs.
Doing things with me doing a bit of gaming on Sunday night.
on Big...
Have a
no,
look.
fuck, what's it called? Twitch.tv
/BigDamnStream. Yeah.
You can also follow our wares and whiffles on @BigDamnCast on Twitter. And you could just follow us around if you wanted, but we will call the authorities, so deal with it. Patreon.com/BigDamnCast. Good bike, my dear. This is where you fuck off now as the music
Oh,
plays.
yeah, I need to go.
Yeah, you gotta leave now. Gotta leave.
Gotta leave. I'm urgently required.
No foreplay. No aftercare.